like that very first exercise, a lot of this has been this buzzing, blooming confusion. A lot of things going on, a lot of information, addressed very quickly towards you. A lot of challenges in terms of grappling with the terminology, the concepts, and in trying to make sense of it in terms of what your needs are, your organizational priorities. And I wish I could do more in a 2 days' time to sort of help alert you without overwhelming you with the sort of possibilities in this area. It's a very rapidly moving area. It's an area that's securing a lot of insight across health domains. And it's one where we're very lucky, I think, provincially, to be in a situation where we have a little less barriers to collaboration, to cooperation across boundaries. My colleagues in Toronto, colleagues in Boston and New York, they speak about the barriers there, the challenges of working when there's major organizations having major turf wars, when so much of the health space is dominated by big players who have very entrenched ways of pursuing things. And we in Saskatchewan are not unfamiliar with turf wars or challenges, but our scale makes the situation here a little bit more tractable for cooperation across boundaries. We get to know each other better than if there are hundreds of thousands of possible researchers and possible health partners out there. And we're in here for the long haul in terms of contributions. Here at University of Saskatchewan, we've been investing in a whole training ecosystem, a whole ecosystem of work, which involves training of students like Anahita, like Kurt, the new generation that will lead us forward. It also, however, involves partnerships with a variety of parties. I'm so privileged to be working together with the ED Weights and Patient Flow Project and with Jeff here, but also with our cooperation over the years with TB Control, with the kidney nephrology program here, partnerships that have emerged with the health region and others. These are really valuable things, and they tie in with the training, but they also tie in with what we can accomplish. We also have student projects, which are constantly looking for opportunities in my classes. Every year, I graduate students who are at the graduate level looking for projects and undergraduate level looking for projects to team up with stakeholders. And a lot of them, you might find it odd. You might find it odd that computer scientists coming out of the worlds of bits and bytes, ones and zeros, would find it interesting to engage with the hurly-burly of the world of health challenges and healthcare. But it's really true that a lot of them find it inspiring and interesting to work with. Is it not the case, Kurt? It is. Indeed. And we do have students who are looking for challenges. I know that, it would be wrong of me to even pretend to believe that, you're going to emerge from this with a really clear idea of what modeling is and a crystal clear idea of how it fits into your context. But there's a lot of opportunities for exploration of ideas, a lot of opportunities for the sort of team-based modeling we've talked about. So it's not a matter of you becoming a modeler or necessarily even you hiring a modeler or, God forbid, hiring a programmer think they're going to become a modeler, which is the opposite of what you want to do. But rather it's a chance to think about ways we might be able to leverage our strengths, the low barriers to cooperation, the accessibility of the province, in terms of further exploration. Maybe it's student projects, maybe it's further discussion and pilot projects, trying something out. I'll point out the ED Weights and Patient Flow Initiative. When we first went to them, Graham isn't here Kelsey isn't here. I can speak a little bit freely. Jenny went to them and, she said, you really got to invest in this modeling stuff. If you're going to be making multi-$100 million recommendations, why not invest some significant amount in actually modeling to assess things? It'll be one voice at the table. Mind you, it won't be the only thing. God knows there's other types of influences on decision making. But it'll be useful. And Graham said, tell me about this modeling stuff, and scratched his non-existent hair. Jenny told him, and he was pretty skeptical. And he talked with me, and he heard some things, and I think he was still pretty skeptical, but maybe a little bit more open to it. And so what we decided to do was to bring Kurt in. And we said, let's give this a try at a small scale. You start small, right? If you're going to go plant an orchard, if you're going to go plant a wheat field here in Saskatchewan on new land, you don't go plant 10,000 acres. If you've never planted that land before, you don't go plant, thousands of fruit trees. You try some. And you see how they work in different areas of soil. You see how they work with the moisture, with different levels of irrigation. See how the pest situation is before you make a big investment, right? Stands to reason. You don't proceed in a reckless way. So they proceeded in fact the opposite of reckless way, hiring someone like Kurt. And so Kurt went and he not with a WR. And Kurt went and he spent a couple months, right? It was 3-4 months? 4 months. Some of it spent with your fiance in Tucson. Yeah, okay. But now your wife, who's an MD, coming to the province because of Kurt. Let's give him a hand. Especially in January. Yeah. Kurt pursued this project, and I think that really helped them understand much better what they were getting. What they were getting in terms of value delivered. It was just a lot clearer. Now, we tried to do a little bit of that here, showing you models, running them, having UN talk about case studies, myself, etc. But I know it's a pale cipher compared to what you can get in your organization. And all I'd say is this stuff is not easy. I'd be lying to you if I said that it's a no risk sort of situation or that it's trivial. We're dealing with hard problems here. We're dealing with problems that are thorny and entangled, and one has to face up to the fact that modeling of these sort of problems is challenging. But there's a lot to be gained learning wise. And I would ask again, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? Time after time, I get people from around the world who come to me with modeling challenges because they've run out of other options. They've kind of pushed against the limits of what they know how to do with their toolbox of techniques. And this is not about replacing your toolbox. It's about enlarging your toolbox, adding to it, so to leverage the rest of your toolbox. So, within this area, you start small, you work incrementally, you learn, and you work in teams. Just like modeling, that would be my recommendation for getting started in the whole idea of modeling as well. And it's folks like Kurt, folks like Anahita, who are going to be bringing us forward. Folks like Alan. Thank you, Alan. Folks like Alan. Now, Alan is actually a great example of an additional type of bird. Sorry, that's one of my less good moments. I'll give you the video file if you want to chop it. Alan is someone coming from the health side, also from a health IT side, but but also, with a strong interest in modeling. And earlier today I was asked, what does it take to do this? Like if someone really wanted to grab the bull by its horns, what would it take to do this modeling? Can someone from a health science background do it? Yes. The answer is yes. I've had some fine students from that background who have gone on to good careers centered around modeling, using the sort of skills we've talked about here. So it's the type of thing which can be practiced by many people, and Alan has invested more heavily than anyone I've met in sort of bringing his computational skills up to bear so we can do very, very powerful sorts of modeling. So if you want to learn more, what are the prospects? We do every year run everything from classes, academic classes, to full-on boot camps and incubators where for the full 6 days we're working developing models, pushing models forward in the course of that week that they'll be able to walk out of the boot camp with something in hand. We do also have these opportunities to learn online. I have a number of videos online, which are maybe too many these days. And those videos expand upon many of these things. But as Jeff said, probably the best thing you can do is really see it in action. It's actually undertake it with someone who's done it before so you can see outcomes. In addition to that, there are a variety of books which will introduce you to the topic, although few, I would say, and very, very few that apply it to the health area in a way that will be helpful to you. I'm toying with the idea of working on such a book. Jeff has an amazing collection of online models and insights, specifically in health, which are illustrated with the most delightful of clip art. And Jeff, maybe in the next 2 days you could show some of those to the participants.
Yeah, for those who are leaving, I uploaded my presentation. At the bottom of every slide, there's a link to the insight.
Yeah, so we're going to be posting that. There's presentations already. I put it on my computer. I've got to go put it on the actual site itself. But those presentations have those links to those so-called insights and Insight Maker. And that's a good place to reason through some of the concepts. And in terms of further opportunities, there are a variety of conferences and kind of communities where this work is being done. We are trying right now, and Dylan is the key person in this. We're trying to work to build actually a community site which will allow people from my many boot camps and many other events, other interested people like my TAs to come together and discuss modeling challenges, share ideas. For you folks, that may be of use, but I'd say if you're in this province, probably the best thing to do is to try to work with a student, work with someone who's here. The distances aren't so vast that we can't visit, with a fairly often basis and evolve something good out of it. But again, proceed incrementally with caution and learn from the whole process. So those are some comments. Jeff, are there comments that you would like to make at this juncture?
Really just to reinforce the opportunity. I don't sort of spend a long time on a plane, come here for nothing, because it's a really great opportunity as a convergence of really a lot of work, particularly from Nate, and just to gain the right confluence of factors to really make a big difference in a short time. So it's about seizing the moment.
Right. Thanks. I think we're at a very, very lucky point where there's a lot of interest and a fair degree of openness, if only because certain things are at the end of their rope in terms of trying out other options, right? So I hope this event has conferred some understanding, some value. It's been my real delight to be able to interact with you folks, and I'm looking forward to seeing many of your faces tomorrow morning. For those who do have to go, I'll hope for the opportunity for further discussion and interaction. Some of you may be interested in our August boot camp and incubator. Jeff will be back again, and we'll have additional guest lectures as well. And it'll be very hands-on and very focused on advancing things. Those who are staying for the next 2 days will also have your chance to do a lot of hands-on work and get exposed to models, as well as having more detailed coverage of other topics. So I know I've been awful long-winded, and I apologize for that. I apologize for the various imperfections and bumps along the way, for the coffee that ran out and the tea that probably tasted like coffee and various things like that. They're not very good about keeping track of what containers they put coffee in as opposed to tea, I've learned. So you tend to get a mix of both. Are there any questions I could answer? Any issues, troubling issues that I could help address? Yeah. Yeah.
For the boot camp in August,
Yeah.
what type of skills that should you have coming into that background knowledge?
Right. Well, we call it the agent-based modeling boot camp, agent-based and hybrid modeling boot camp for health researchers. It's not strictly for researchers. It's also for practitioners. So that little part is a misnomer. And in terms of background, I do expect people there to have some working familiarity with health science concepts and ideas, because that's kind of the language. We do not, and certainly will not, have any expectation in terms of computer skills for that. It is quite, just like that first example, we have a lot of hands-on components, and they will involve stretching yourself a little bit in terms of trying things to give you some flavor of what's required. But we do not require anyone to come in with sort of programming exposure or background or anything like that, nor a lot of quantitative knowledge in terms of statistics or probability theory, anything like that. It's really hands-on, but with a willingness to stretch yourself a bit under very close guidance to build up models so you know what it's like to build them up in a team context. Is that helpful? Okay. Other questions? Great question. Others? Okay. Well, again, it's a real privilege, honor to have so many people here from so many different agencies, coming here together to discuss this issue. I hope really I'll get a chance to see you folks either tomorrow or in some other context soon. So for those here tomorrow, look forward to seeing you bright and early. For those heading back, safe travels, and look forward to further interactions. So thanks very much. Thanks. And maybe we can give one round for the TAs. Oh, thank you.
We can leave stuff in here.
That's a good question.
The poster and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah.
Thank you so much for this. I am actually so upset now that I was too intimidated and I'm not staying for the next 2 days because I think this was absolutely wonderful. I do have a quick question for you because I'm kind of already, even though it's only been about a year since I finished my master's, starting to think about my PhD and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So, and my background is in ecology, but when you get out of that, like when you get into the more of the pure academics, trying to get data for things, right? Yeah. It's really difficult. Hold on to that stuff like you wouldn't believe.
Right.
And it kind of inspired me that in a lot of respects, I may be able to use modeling, with some of the data that is known, that's published, because one of the things that's kind of come to my mind from a policy point of view is that oftentimes we make decisions on policy based on research findings. Right. But those research findings don't take, or the people who are making decisions don't understand that those research, those randomized control trials that I love so much, are the healthy people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
totally.
any, health economics that's done on them
Yep.
is false.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Is
They
this
control for many of the key things that are going to affect things in actual.
the reality? The
yeah,
reality is
exactly.
that your rates
Yep.
of whatever are going to be higher. You're
Totally.
going to be hospitalized. So
Yep.
should I use modeling as a
Yeah,
way
that's
to
one
do
of it's one of the significant motivators for use of modeling is to go beyond this kind of false precision of randomized controlled. I mean, not to say randomized controlled trials are useless,
No.
but but in terms of translating them into direct policy impact, this is one of the major goals of modeling, is to sort of be able to alert us to what the realistic impacts of policies are, given that all these things are controlled for by randomized controlled trials that are selected out by the selection of participants or whatever are in fact addressed.
Okay.
And so absolutely it's a big motivator for modeling, and I do think it could be of use. Are you particularly talking oncology area or more broadly?
I want to get back into that.
Yeah.
I had to separate myself out from it with my master's because
Interesting.
my research questions that I wanted, I just
Yeah.
I just couldn't answer the question.
Right.
I went through about 5 iterations.
Wow. Yeah.
And just couldn't do it. So I went in a completely different field, but I would like to go back into that.
Yeah.
But I'm also not
Yeah.
part of that. But that's sort of
Yeah. I see there's a lot of potential there, and I'm certainly tied in with folks who are doing cancer-related studies related to, say, cervical cancer and HPV, et cetera. I think there's a lot of prospects there, and I think it's a very good motivation that you've just mentioned. And you can use quite a bit of evidence, but still pursue modeling that doesn't make these sort of outlandish assumptions that actual implementation is going to follow the types of results seen in clinical RCTs or even community-based clinical trials. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to know.
Hope that's helpful. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Be glad to talk more.
Perfect. I might take you up on that.
Okay. Thanks, Kim.
Can I just run something by you?
Sure.
So in Regina, home care, we've got 300 employees.
Yeah.
They do about 360,000 hours of service in a year.
Yeah.
And we overspend by about $2 million for our budget.
Right.
So it's really simple. We don't have a ward. We don't have a facility. They get in their cars. They go out and they do visits.
Yep.
During the day.
Yeah.
So we have service that we have to increase, like the government wants, and population is growing, and we also have a deficit.
Yeah.
So all we can do is that we can add FTEs, like nurses and CCAs. We can get them more efficient for their shifts. So out of 8 hours, they're doing 5.5 hours of care or 6, rather than driving around.
Right. You could invest in logistics to have them go between site to site in the most efficient way, or best traffic, or whatever.
We can try and deal with sick times so they don't phone in sick.
Yeah.
We can make their traveling around the city or around the country better.
Yeah.
Weather is a factor that we can't control.
Yeah. But you can make it less vulnerable to weather potentially. So if a big storm is there, you've managed to sort of structure things so you have the requisite flexibility to work around it or whatever. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, could there be a model where it says, you know what, you got to get rid of your $2 million deficit.
Yeah.
This is going to be the impact on
your
service, or the population is going. So you're going to need to make this 500,000.
Yeah.
You need 40 more people.
40 more people, or you need to change your delivery structure in this way, or whatever, your amount of time, or yeah.
Could that be a model, or is that a spreadsheet?
No, I would do that in a model, unquestionably. And I would do it in a spatially explicit model where you're actually. You saw this a little bit with Dylan. I think people moving around, and did he show you that model where people sort of move to either to convenience stores or to care facilities and stuff? So you can actually have models where it's tied in with GIS. So they're moving throughout it.
Well, is this showing our 300 employees as agents?
Yeah, that would be one way to do it. Yes. I think that might be a fruitful thing. I'd want to think about this a bit, but that would be my impulse, is to sort of try stimulating that, and you'd be able to basically see through a changed policy how that led to the outcomes in terms of cost, in terms of time, and therefore see kind of how much it's budged things to put in place this policy or that policy, and you'd be able to see the interaction between different folks, who are servicing people. I think there's a lot of prospects for modeling that well, and I've had some students who have done some similar work, in terms of kind of routing logistics, that sort of stuff, in the past. And I think it definitely could be done. It strikes me as a crisp enough problem that it actually is a lot easier for a student to kind of take on compared to some of the other challenges that were talked about. Yeah. So no, unquestionably. If you're interested in talking more, I mean, definitely there are students who might be able to work on something like that.
And they're looking for opportunities?
Yeah, my students are generally looking for opportunities.
They're academic pursuits.
Yeah, like the one I'm talking about earlier was done as part of a class project.
Yeah.
He did it, and actually, I think it may have led to a full-time job later. But he undertook a sort of logistics modeling related sort of project for his term project. It was a grad student, and he sort of took it from start to finish, sort of trying to look at the implications. It was, again, sort of issues with driving through roads, et cetera. Yeah. And so I think there's some prospects there. I mean, if there were, it depends how much flexibility you have in terms of time, resources, et cetera, because, like the student projects, those are typically during the semester, and it's normally the first semester, so starting in September, students are looking for projects. But in terms of like student thesis projects, like if you wanted someone to do it for their master's thesis, like do the full-on thing, really like totally take it on, dress it. That's an additional thing, but there probably some need for support for the student, in terms of some stipend or something like that. It's no more than something on the order for a doctoral student. Normally we can get by with about 10, 11K a year or something like that for them to do this as their main project. But if you're looking to have someone explore it first, that sort of project in the fall for a student class project might be good. We also have students, grad students, undergrads, who are looking for internships, like where they would actually go to your organization and work there.
Yeah, and we've had people like that in.
Yeah. So I should introduce you to Win Shelton. Do you know him?
Well, I've just seen him there.
Okay, so he has a background that could be very suited to investigating this, because he does what's called operations research, which a lot of it is about sort of optimization of logistics, and this strikes me as having some flavor of that. So.
Well, I mean, our business is really simple.
Yeah.
In a way, but it does have its complications. But these are
real
issues for us.
Yeah.
And yet we support modeling.
No, sure. It's a very practical sort of need, and it's doing it by the seat of the pants. There's probably certain efficiencies there that you're not securing. You could shave some, $200,000 off this way, and maybe, be more robust to changes in weather in this way or what have you. You might be able to total up. You can start to really cut down the deficit.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just
an
employee's day and what they do in a day.
Yep.
But we can think of it in terms of one person, but when you're talking about 300 or bringing
Totally. And I can imagine many types of interesting sort of ways of looking at that. So definitely think that's worthy. And as I say, quite defined problem. I like it. So I'll talk with Winchell about it, but he recently did some internships in Manitoba. He's kind of doing one over at HQC now. So I think it could be a really good match if there were an interest.
Well, should I send you an email, or what's appropriate?
Yeah, I think send me an email. We could be in touch, and we could talk about which option seems best for you, because they have kind of, again, time, cost, sort of level of commitment, whether they're physically at your place or other trade-offs. And so we'd want to think about that.
I mean, this is the thing, we could go out and get a consultant.
Of course.
But we don't have the money for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And if this is developing students, I mean, it's not a mind-boggling problem in a way. Like it's like the whole health system is contained.
That's right. Exactly. And so I think it's very amenable to certain types of modeling and operations research type type work. So with the right student, I think it can be done very well. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, Tom, great to talk. Yeah, a pleasure. Thank you. Take care. Yeah. Actually, I needed to also provide this to Raheem. Yeah. So let's just think for tomorrow. What do we need to modify? One thing is we need to get this so the room is opened. How are the things coming in the rooms there?
Well, the one I was in, they were really happy. They're all set to like hire us to come back. They wanted to come. What was the health region? It started with an R.
Regina Capel? RQHR?
No, it started with a K. KR. Anyway, it was doing something else. Yeah, just. They're like, yeah, you're my cousin.
K.
There's so many health regions in this province.
Yeah, 13 or 14. Yeah. Yeah.
5 in BC.
Yeah.
I think we have double your population.
Yeah. No, more than that, I think. Yeah. So that's interesting. That's good. And which problem was this?
That was the in Moose Jaw, the first one, the integrated health unit. Yeah. Okay. And so it was all about. I mean, it was a discrete event, and then we're going to add an agent-based into it. Yeah. And it was just about optimizing room allocation. Yep. Pretty straightforward, but they hadn't seen it before. So. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really good. So that's Ed, is the guy you were dealing with there. Yeah, and then the other fellow who was sitting there most of the camp.
Oh, the guy with the mustache. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Anyway, they seem happy. So.
Yeah, they want to carry it on.
Okay, that's really good.
He's still here another 2 days.
Ed is okay, that's great. So I guess one question is whether we need any course changes with that. It sounds like at least that's one case that's fairly successful. I'm not sure if any of these will no longer be here, in which case we could free up a room. Let's see what other things. Well, one operative issue is starting tomorrow. We're going to be. Maybe I should get the other TAs in here. What do you think? Okay. How about Kurt? Kurt had to go?
Yeah, he had to go down to his office.
Oh, okay.
I can.
Okay. Starting tomorrow, we're going to, right. So starting tomorrow, we're going to have a, sure. So you're going to be here tomorrow. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you there.
We did a little AnyLogic boot camp. A little green on it.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Mustafa was there for some of it?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, good. Look forward to seeing you. Thanks, Liam. So tomorrow we're going to need some people in the room because we're going to be going through some hands-on exercises. It's going to only be about half the people or so. So it's going to be a much smaller group, but they're going to be doing many more hands-on exercises, including building up models from scratch. So I need at least 4 or 5 TAs in the room, I think. Probably 4 would do it. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Raheem, you've been working with someone. Okay. Okay.
And there was a problem with the data collection.
Okay. I see. Okay. Is there a data collection issue? Okay.
He was already hopeless.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew that there's a problem with the collection.
I see. Okay.
But anyway, one group is.
Okay.
I was working with that. I want to be able to have access to AnyLogic, so I don't want to continue. And I said, okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. No problem there. Okay, so that frees up 2. Priyasri, you're not bound to a group, so you could be here tomorrow. Dylan's working with Joachim, though.
Yeah, what's the other option?
Oh, I'm just trying to figure who will be in the room tomorrow.
Yeah, well, maybe he can.
Yeah. So, Aiden, you're freed up, so you could be in the room. What's that?
You're doing the nuggeting.
Oh, the nuggeting. Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. We are switching between me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not
pretty
sure
good.
if it's okay.
In fact, it may still be recording. Let me make sure. There it is. Yeah, it's still recording. Okay, this is the end of a nugget.